so important in his life.
Never. Almost as much as I've seen for scum.
Well, thank everybody for being here. I'm Larry Powell, Chairman of the Nuclear Materials Committee, and I'd like to welcome everyone to Aiken. We got anybody on telephone, internet, whatever? No one. Okay. I guess we'll go right on into our point of contact status with Maxine.
Thank you, Larry. So I'm Maxine Maxted, DOE. Try and read this without my glasses. So H Canyon has processed 3 batches of the high flux isotope reactor, or HIFER fuel, and 1 batch of the material test reactor, or MTR fuel, in FY18. FY19 goals for processing are 6 batches in total, 4 being HIFER and 2 being MTR. The target residue material processing campaign continues. In K area, all 6 required destructive evaluations were completed in FY18. We plan on doing at least 1 in FY19. 10 3013 containers were downblended this fiscal year. K area operations are focused on supporting the 1 metric ton removal of plutonium from the state of South Carolina. FY19 goal is to downblend 25 3013 containers. H and K area are currently in their fall outages, which are expected to be completed by the end of October. L area continues to support fuel receipts from foreign and domestic research reactors and prepares for transfers of spent nuclear fuel to H Canyon for processing in FY19. 235F continues to work removal of materials at risk and address actions for completion of the implementation plan for the Defense Nuclear Facility Safety Board Recommendation 2012-1. SRNL and the University of South Carolina, Aiken, signed a memorandum of understanding to create a collegiate affiliate program providing opportunities for retired laboratory professionals to enhance student learning experiences. So this is where SRNL retirees can collaborate with the USC Aiken in a number of ways by being qualified lab retirees, can teach courses or labs, or any retiree can mentor young scientists, provide guest lectures, assist with the Ruth Patrick Science Education programs, and more. SRNL has also licensed its hydrogen isotope separation technology to Greenway Energy for use in commercial laboratory nuclide radiograph system. The technology is known as the thermal cycling absorption process. It's used to separate hydrogen isotopes of protium, deuterium, and tritium. The TCAP system was invented in 1980 by SRNL to support national security missions. SRNL has launched the first quarterly refocus meeting designed to sustain performance improvements, and this is a result of their safety pause. It's what they'll do continually on a quarterly basis, just re-emphasizing safety and its priority at the site. Thank you. That's all. Yes, sir. Yes.
May as well just stay right there.
Yes, sir.
This is going to show my ignorance here, but you said in 2018 we had a goal to remove 1 ton of plutonium.
So we didn't have a goal. We have a court order to try to remove a metric ton of plutonium. Okay. And K area's efforts are focused on that right now.
Okay, when you say a metric ton of plutonium, this is not a metric ton of the element plutonium, is it? It's how do they? So
trying to figure out how I can answer this correctly without getting in trouble. It's based on the weight of the plutonium and all of its isotopes in the matrix that we have it stored in. Is okay. How the metric ton is based.
Okay, and when you remove it, where will it go?
So, yeah, other repositories. The current 1 metric ton effort is under NNSA, so I can't comment on what NNSA is doing and where they're going to be putting it. When we're doing our downblending that we talk about, that's going to go to a federal repository, and as we've said, it's WIP in Carlsbad.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Dave Isley, CAB. I got a couple update questions for you, Maxine. Have you made any progress on the resin protected zone?
So that you're talking about in L area where the
Yes.
hyperfuel, some of the hyperfuel is stored.
Yes.
We have plans in place. We have not done anything or touched any of those cores in the resin affected zone, but there are efforts going on to evaluate that, including whether or not we can just send them straight to the canyon. So the lab is helping us analyze that resin and what it would do to our flow
So-
sheet for H Canyon.
So you wouldn't touch it unless you're in those lanes and could deal with it then?
Could deal with that. So
Okay.
right now, we don't anticipate having to enter into those zones for another year and a half or so. So
Okay.
we've got efforts in place to deal with it when we get there.
But you're also trying to analyze it away?
Yes, we are.
Okay, that would be the good way.
Mhm.
Basin isolation, has there been any discussion on the...
So we have not made
new-
any new progress on basin isolation since you retired. It's still, we have the 2012 report that was done on how we would do that with the dry storage. We've not made any changes or any progress towards that regard.
Not on the radar?
Not on the radar yet, no.
Okay. The recirculation line to the filtration, there was a program to look at it once a year. Is there any degradation on that thing that you know of?
Not that I know of. I haven't heard anything, but I also haven't seen the latest system health report on it. But I haven't heard of any issues with it, no.
Okay, ask Dave Rose about that because he
Yes,
would
sir.
know. Is it still on the below the line project list to get done at some time?
Yes.
Yes.
So we have a priority list for the site.
Right.
So it's on that list and it's prioritized in that list.
Okay, so it's still there.
It's still there.
Okay. And do you have an update on the new chilled water system? They were going to put on plus
Oh,
34.
so yes. So we actually have funding. We're using the foreign fuel receipts to actually put a new HVAC system in the transfer bay this year. So we have the design of that. They're working on turning the procurement. We just turned that over. We were able to do that because we got a budget when we were supposed to. So we were able to calculate what we needed, and so we're going forward with that. It should be installed by 2020. We're trying to accelerate that, but it'll be 2020
Well,
before it gets installed.
That's great. So the chilled water system's out. These will be conventional.
These would be a HVAC system.
Okay, good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yes, sir.
Doug Howard Cap. Thank you for the update, Maxine. A question on the collaboration that the SRNL is going to do with the University of Aiken.
You got about my knowledge and what I've read on this paper, but I'll do my best.
Okay, is this something new that they're doing? Have they done it before?
I think they've done it in the past, probably on an individual basis, not as a unity. This is just establishing a memorandum of agreement that they can do this activity back and forth. So I think they've done bits and pieces of it in the past. This is just making it a formalized program.
Do you know if they have plans to do it with other schools around here, or?
I do not know. I do not know. I'm sure if the opportunity came up that they would. It's just because it's in our backyard, it's easiest
Gotcha.
to partner with that school.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me what a heifer batch is? A batch?
Yes. So heifer batch is what we call in the canyons phrase of what would it be to dissolve, and it's 5 cores. So 5 cores of heifer that go into a batch.
So how long does it take to process? So you said we go in 4 batches. So how long does it take to do 1 batch?
So that also depends on the uranium and everything in it and how long it takes to dissolve. It typically takes us probably, I'm going off memory, so I'll get these numbers wrong, but it's probably about 3 weeks to get all of them dissolved.
So 3 weeks for 1 batch.
That's just the dissolving. That's not doing the rest of the canyon process. It's just the dissolving piece.
So, I mean,
Gil,
that's-
can I get you to start using a microphone? Please.
So best estimate, I mean, I'm not holding you to it, but from completion to end on 1 batch.
It's going all the way through the
All the way
separation
through.
process. I would guess and this is just a guess, it's going to be between 3 to 4 months because you're got to go through head in, you got to go first cycle, second cycle, then you're going to go to a low activity, and you've got to put it outside to then down blend it. So I'd say it's a 3 to 4 month process for a batch.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. That's based on our current staffing levels as well, because we're not 24/7. So, or well, we are 24/7. We're not forced. We don't have a full 4-shift complement.
Maxine?
Yes.
Jim Gill, Cap. The metric ton of plutonium and its isotopes that's being treated at this point, is the process that's going through what we saw mocked up?
So for the 6 metric tons that EM owns, yes, that's the process it's going through.
Okay, and...
It's called
okay.
downblend, yeah.
Yep, all right. Clarifies, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Dave?
Dave Isley, Cab. You said 5 cores. That's 5 complete cores?
Yes, an inner and an outer.
So 4 batches would be 20 complete cores?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Another question.
Thank you, Gil.
One other question.
Mm-hmm.
What is it L area that we saw the dilute and dispose?
No, that's K area.
Carrier. Okay, I'm getting a lot of questions about the dilute and dispose right now.
So dilute and dispose is what NNSA is proposing. We
I didn't
use
say that. I
downblend.
didn't say that.
Okay. So downblend is the EM program, but they are the same.
That's all I wanted.
Okay. And they use a different term because they're dealing with their international counterparts, and when you use downblend, it doesn't translate into their language very well. That's why they use dilute and dispose. We're talking about the same process. EM uses downblend. We don't like to use dilute. That's not a good word in the United States with our regulators. So that's why we use downblend. But it's the same process. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Maxine.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a committee discussion. Everybody got the little blue handout here on the consent order. And everybody will make yourself familiar with this. I guess it comes down to the key consent order actions. There were 2 key consent order actions and 1 complete corrective action plans arranged for an independent party outside SRS to conduct an effectiveness review and transmit results to OE. And number 2, conduct an independent outside of SRNS and its associated parent companies assessments of the nuclear criticality safety program. Anybody have any comments on this consent order?
Mary does.
Yes, ma'am.
Mary Weber Cab. I have a question about page 10, where it says that 22 opportunities for improvement were identified. I am wondering whether that review of those 22 opportunities has been concluded, or whether that is something that this committee ought to follow up on. I'm not clear from the from the presentation and from the handout whether that's been concluded and they say that the matter is closed, that they've
Okay. So
addressed those 22 opportunities.
Well, Bob is here. Can you talk to that a little bit?
Sure. Bob Martini again from SRNS. Yeah, the 22 opportunities for improvement on slide 10 were from our own internal self-assessment. Additionally, there were 9 other recommendations that identified opportunities for improvement from that CSSG review. That was that external party that did the criticality program review. we took all those opportunities for improvement and put them into our tracking system. Some actions are complete. I couldn't tell you exactly off the top of my head how many are done, how many are not done, but all of those are tracking for somebody to evaluate and decide whether we will or will not do something. And if we choose to do something, there's a commitment date as to when we will do them. A large number of the CSG actions have been acted on already, and we're in progress with a majority of those finishing. I'd say I kind of have two sections. One section finishing kind of the end of this calendar year, and then the next section finishing up in about a quarter later on the CSSG actions. The other OFIs, I don't have that off the top of my head, but we are tracking those as well.
Thank you. That might be something that the committee might want to follow up on in
Understood.
maybe a year or next year sometime. If we could maybe put that down on our agenda.
Any other comments, questions?
Not everybody at once.
Dave?
I'll say something. Dave Isaac-Cab, I was working out there when the HB line event happened that created all this. It was a huge big deal, and their senior management and corporate actually took it very seriously, and that's why so much effort was put into it, as Bob briefed us last at the big meeting, and I think they've done an excellent effort to really dig down and see where their root problems were, because it was a shocking event when we found out people were just kind of doing, and that's really hard to get the nub at, and so I think they've done a good job, and I think we're done, and of course they need to go back and on a regular basis and verify that what they thought they've accomplished has truly been accomplished and continues to be accomplished. So I think we're done.
Thank you, Dave. I think in the beginning, we all thought, well, they just put the wrong stuff in the wrong thing, and what's the big deal? But as it unfolded, it was a big deal, and so it sounds like they've done their job to take steps to make sure bad things don't happen. So I guess that's all we've got to say about this consent order. Even Gil's quiet about it.
Not anymore.
Okay, do we have any public comment?
You're supposed to turn those off before you go. Chairman.
Public is as quiet as our committee. James, that's all I've got.
Any other parting thoughts from anyone else? Other than that?
It's something for you, but it's just won't come out. It's for you, James.
There we go.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's helpful. I'll have to cue that up next time. I'm sure there's an app for that.
What was the work plan? You had something, I was looking.
So next month in October, Maxine's going to talk about plutonium disposition options. So we'll be going a little bit more.
Okay, the consent order.
Yeah.
We actually plan stuff in advance?
We plan everything a year in advance.
Demonstrating I'm a newbie. Okay.
Any other questions, comments, concerns out of nuclear materials realm? Render suspiciously quiet? No? Okay. All right, Larry.
Well, if there's no other discussion, I would say the meeting is now adjourned.